Let's get right into it. Number 5, the Lost Scrolls of Alexandria. Imagine walking into the world's greatest library where every piece of human knowledge was carefully collected and stored. The Library of Alexandria wasn't just some ancient book collection. This place was the internet of the ancient world, containing somewhere between 40,000 to 400,000 scrolls at its peak. The Ptolemies who ran this place were absolutely obsessed with gathering knowledge. They had a wild policy where every ship that docked in Alexandria got searched for books. If they found any, they'd confiscate them, make copies, and give you back the copy while keeping the original. Talk about ancient piracy, but for books instead of gold. What makes this loss so devastating isn't just the sheer volume of knowledge that vanished, it's what that knowledge contained. We're talking about cutting-edge scientific research, mathematical discoveries, astronomical observations, and philosophical works that could have pushed human understanding forward by centuries. Think about this for a second. Of the works written by Euclid, we only have half of what he actually created. For Archimedes, we've got maybe 1/3 of his original writings. The playwright Euripides lost about 75% of his plays to history. These weren't just random scribblings. These were the greatest minds of their time, and most of their work just disappeared into the void. The destruction wasn't some dramatic Hollywood moment where everything burned down in one night. Instead, the library died a slow, painful death over centuries. Political upheaval, religious conflicts, and just plain neglect gradually chipped away at this treasure trove of human knowledge until there was nothing left but stories and regret. If you want to hear about more forbidden knowledge that shaped our world, make sure to hit that subscribe button. There's so much more to uncover. Number 4, Soviet science suppression. Picture this. You're a brilliant scientist in the Soviet Union, but the government decides your entire field of study is now illegal. Not because it's dangerous, but because it doesn't fit their political agenda. Welcome to one of history's most systematic erasures of scientific knowledge. In the mid-1930s, an agronomist named Trofim Lysenko launched a campaign against genetics with Stalin's backing. Suddenly, Mendelian genetics became bourgeois science, banned not for being wrong, but for being associated with a priest named Gregor Mendel. The Soviets literally outlawed an entire branch of science because they didn't like the religious connections. It gets worse. Cybernetics, the field that would eventually help create modern computers, was condemned as bourgeois pseudoscience during Stalin's reign. Norbert Wiener's groundbreaking 1948 book on cybernetics was banned and only got translated in 1958, a full decade later. From the 1930s to the 1950s, sociology virtually disappeared in the Soviet Union. Independent historical research became impossible because officially, certain events never happened. Western historians' works were either forbidden or heavily censored with corrective footnotes that completely changed their meaning. The government didn't just control what people could say, they controlled what people could think, research, and discover. Comment your location below and let me know if you've ever heard about knowledge being suppressed in your country. Number 3, the Vatican's hidden archives. Deep beneath Vatican City lies one of the world's most mysterious repositories of knowledge. The Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly known as the Vatican Secret Archive, contains an estimated 53 miles of shelving packed with documents spanning 12 centuries. That's enough material to stretch from New York to Philadelphia, all stored underground. The name itself has fueled countless conspiracy theories. The word secret comes from the Latin secretum, which actually means personal or private, like the Pope's private papers. But that hasn't stopped people from wondering what's really hidden down there. Parts of the archive remain classified in the modern sense. Everything after 1958 is off limits to outsiders, along with private records of church figures after 1922. When documents do get released, they sometimes rewrite history. In 2007, the Vatican made public something called the Chignon Parchment, which documented the trials of the Knights Templar. This dining room table-sized document proved that Pope Clement V actually absolved the Knights Templar of heresy in 1308, something historians never knew. One document completely changed how we understand one of history's most famous military orders. What else is sitting in those 53 miles of archives? Documents that could reshape our understanding of medieval politics, scientific discoveries that were suppressed, or correspondence between world leaders that never made it into the history books. The Vatican says they're just administrative records, but when you're talking about 12 centuries worth of the Catholic Church's paperwork, That's a lot of potentially world-changing information. Number 2, the mystery of lost ancient technologies. Here's something that'll mess with your head. Our ancestors weren't as primitive as we like to think. In fact, they created technologies so advanced that we still can't figure out how they did it. The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a Greek shipwreck, is basically an ancient analog computer from around 100 BC. This thing could predict astronomical positions, eclipses, and even the timing of the Olympic Games. Greek fire was a Byzantine weapon so terrifying that when enemy ships got hit with it, the entire sea would catch on fire. Water couldn't put it out, dirt couldn't smother it, and once it started burning, you were basically doomed. The Umayyad Caliphate learned this the hard way when their entire fleet got torched trying to attack Constantinople in 674. The formula for Greek fire died with the Byzantine Empire, and we still don't know exactly how they made it. Damascus steel produced blades with legendary sharpness and durability. These swords were manufactured for over 100 years across the Middle East, but somehow the technique just vanished. Modern metallurgists can create similar steel, but they're still guessing at the original methods. Roman engineering was so advanced that many of their techniques weren't matched until the 19th and 20th centuries. They had mechanical reapers, sophisticated concrete that could set underwater, and construction methods that created buildings still standing today. Then the knowledge just disappeared for over 1,000 years. Before we dive into our final piece of forbidden knowledge, do me a favor and share this video with someone who loves mysterious history. They'll thank you for it. Number 1, modern book burning and the erasure of inconvenient truths. Think the age of burning books is over? Think again. We're living through the biggest wave of book banning in decades, and it's happening right under our noses. In the 2021-2022 school year alone, more books were banned from U.S. school districts than any previous year on record. The American Library Association reported a record-breaking 38% increase in book banning attempts in 2022. But here's the kicker. Most of these banned books aren't filled with dangerous information or national security secrets. They're stories written by or about LGBTQ+ individuals and people of color. We're literally watching knowledge get erased based on whose stories we're allowed to hear. This isn't just about dusty old libraries either. Government agencies are actively silencing experts who threaten corporate interests. Take Dr. Deborah Rice, an award-winning toxicologist who got dismissed from her EPA position in 2008. Her crime? Speaking out about the potential health risks of a fire retardant called DECA. Chemical industry lobbyists didn't like what she had to say, so they pressured the EPA to remove her from the peer review panel that was supposed to evaluate the safety of their product. It's the same pattern we've seen throughout history. When knowledge threatens power, that knowledge gets buried. Whether it's ancient scrolls burning in Alexandria, Soviet scientists being silenced for political reasons, or modern researchers losing their jobs for telling inconvenient truths, the mechanism is always the same. The difference today is that we have the internet, right? Information wants to be free and all that, but even digital information can disappear. Websites vanish, social media accounts get deleted, and search algorithms decide what we get to see. We think we live in an age of unlimited information, but we might actually be living in an age of curated ignorance. What's truly terrifying is that we might not even know what we're missing. How many breakthrough discoveries, revolutionary ideas, or life-changing innovations have been suppressed before they could reach us? How much forbidden knowledge is sitting in classified files, corporate vaults, or just getting systematically ignored because it doesn't fit the official narrative? The real question isn't whether forbidden knowledge exists. The real question is whether we're brave enough to seek it out, protect it, and learn from it before it disappears forever. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.